M3 is back in the garage here. It's a crazy amount of pollen on it. I've been reluctant to wash it because it'd just be a darn mess. So I got a couple of projects to work on here today. So what I figured I'd do is just do a working chat, right? Not a wash and chat, but a working chat. A couple of things I got to do. I've got to, there's a wear sensor that you pull out of the OE brakes that you don't put back in the Brembos. I thought I could code that out, but I don't think Alex from Alex from Alpine said, you know, the best thing to do, which is what Mike was telling me to do, was just, we're going to cut the wear sensor, I'm going to solder them together and shrink wrap it or heat wrap it so that, you know, it just always shows connected or contacted. So hopefully the wires aren't too beat up to do that. The other thing I've been having an issue with, and part of the reason why I wanted to do a chat here, a working chat, was the darn sway bar. And now I'm going to follow the procedure. I never actually read the instructions when we did the install. I just did it. And so the procedure is to set the end links up. So I'm going to do that where they're just kind of loose fit, and then you tighten down the lock nuts or the jam nuts, I think they're called. And then I'm going to put it down on the ground under load. So you set them at full droop, and then you put it down under load. So I'm going to back the car up and just lift up one side of the lift so I can climb under the car. And then I have to take one of the end links off and then put it back on. I'm pretty sure it's the sway bar, but what's happening is as I'm driving around, I get this clunking. It's driving me insane. I don't know if there's, I'm also going to check it sounds like it's on this side of the car, but I'm also going to check the connection where the top hat or the camber plate connects, make sure that's good. I've already jacked it up once and done this, but this time I'm going to, the Dynon instructions, which I didn't know, have us put it under load and then remove and then put one back on. So maybe that drops any tension off. But it does sound like the sway bar is binding or something funky. So anyway, we're going to work on that here today. So for those of you who haven't seen, these are the little jack pads that I use. But these things, these are actually designed for Porsche, but I can put this up into the BMW jack point as well. So it actually allows me to and they kind of work. But I find a spot and I just twist it and it locks into place, semi-locks into place. And then this is what we use to get the car up in the air. Generally one or two of them fall as I'm working around the car, getting it up. I got this crazy, I think it has something to do with the Bluetooth subwoofer connection. But there's a lot of static electricity in here from the plastic flooring, and then I have a dehumidifier where I keep it at like 43% relative humidity. And so there's all static buildup, and so you'll hear the speakers pop when I touch. A lot of times when I touch the cabinets, I end up with the speakers popping. It's probably not good. So I'm going to come up to waist height, take the front wheels off. I'll probably have to take the backs off too in order to get that sensor fixed or soldered. The other thing I may address here today is my seat. My new fancy seat is super squeaky, driving me nuts. People were yelling at Adam about breaking his lugs loose in the Facebook group. Gosh, the darn Facebook group has been giving me a headache lately. You know, guys are giving us a hard time because we were talking about Army tricks and IPE. And I generally don't take strong stances on things, but the exhaust on the 991 GT3, I think I'm afforded the ability to take a strong stance because I've had 15 of them on the car. So yeah, see, all of this feels good. Bump stop feels good. Nothing is clunking or rotating. So let me see here. That'll do it. My sway bar end link is loose. that would be it. I'll grab the other camera and show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so here's what I'm dealing with here. This is the good news, is I figured out why it's clunking. So see, here's the sway bar. That'll do it. So I should, now this was tight, but I should be able to just tighten that down and fix the problem. You see what I'm saying here? And here's the suspension. So everything else is good. I just couldn't figure out why it was clunking. I'm still going to follow the procedure of having it, it should be loose like that. So I should be able to move it around like that, like I just did. And then I'm going to put it on the ground under tension and then loosen the one side again like the directions say. All right, so let's take this wheel off. I'm going to take this off too, just to be safe. And I'd like to I'm going to put my wheel guides on. Jeez. Shouldn't be on that tight. What the heck's that all about? I think these are M3 size. Let's see. Yeah. It makes it a little easier to take the wheel off, especially at this height. I don't want to hit my Brembos. So let's check this sway bar end link. Gosh, I don't remember tightening the counter so aggressively. So the HREs are here. Just need to get my rear end down there. Okay, this one's good. Not under crazy tension. So, the sway bar end link is adjustable, so you can change the length of it. So this one's good. For some reason that lock nut came loose, so I'm going to tighten that up. I think it's an 18. The good news is this is a really simple fix. So I need to get, I think it's a Torx. I need to put on there, maybe a T30. Yep, that'll do it. I don't think that's an 18. I think it's a 17. We know how this goes when I try to talk through major projects like this. The bigger question is, why did this come loose? Because unless I just didn't torque it. So as soon as I do that, then the end link tightens up, but I can still turn it. So that should be good. Well, this is a lock nut. It's possible I just didn't tighten it down. I don't know. I find that hard to believe. It's as tight as it goes. Check the other side. Yeah, that side has come loose too. All right, so we're all nice and tight now. I think we're good. So you see the sway bar end link, that silver thing. So the sway bar end link is this thing back here, so I can kind of wiggle it around. Maybe somebody can tell me what's up, but I think we're good as long as I can twist it and it just slides in there nicely, nice and evenly. I don't know why that's coming loose. We're not hitting the steering boot or any of that. Everything else looks good. So I'm going to fix the wear indicators. Gotta figure out where they put those. All right, so I'm gonna cut this wear indicator thing. I'll pull it out and show you what I'm talking about here. But yeah, I've been in love with the M3 outside of this little hiccup here with the sway bar not wanting to stay proper. I don't know why that, unless I just didn't torque it properly. So here's our wear indicator. And so what I need to do is cut this. And there should be 2 wires in here. Oops. There they are. Cut this back a little bit more so you can see what I'm doing here. Got these two wires. So I'm going to strip them back. This is like a 20 gauge, not even 20 gauge. It's really thin. It's like 22 gauge little indicator. It's basically looking for contact. So I'm going to take them and solder them together. So I think, how do I want to do this? I don't know what the best way to do this is. Because I want to keep this clean and not get all beat up. And I'll zip tie it up under here, but I guess all I really need to do is twist those two guys together like that. I think what I'm going to do is twist them together. I'm going to solder them, and then I'm going to bend it over and just heat shrink it. So here's our wear indicator that I cut off. We'll toss that. Take a little bit of solder. Is this thing getting hot? Yeah, it's hot. There we go. Since I'm going to need that here shortly, I'm going to just put this on the ground just to be safe. Okay. Just fold this over halfway. Might make sense on the future ones to just cut that in half. I need to get a blowtorch so I can shrink these properly in the future. There we go. Just to make sure that doesn't fall off. I don't think it will, but there we go. Let's take that pigtail. I'm just going to zip tie it. Boom. Done. Good. It's beat up. Nothing's hitting the sway bar. Good. Okay. Put this back on. I'll get this all done and I get this car cleaned up. I get down to PSI to get my wheels. I don't know what to do with. You know, I started this darn Facebook group as a way to give, you know, to create, I mean, I didn't know anything about community, but through Brian Orr's suggestion, a way for me to create a voice for people watching me on YouTube, watching the videos. And the interesting thing is that, you know, the people in it, you guys that, you know, many of you guys are in it that are watching these videos, are, you know, the community. And there's been this like amazing thing that's happened where so many people have connected outside of me, you know, that now do meetups and hang out, and then how cool is it the group has been selected, I'll talk about it more, but it's been selected by a massive organization. I'm sure you can guess who, to, you know, the group to you know, compare it to community, and, you know, a diverse community that comes together to talk about garages and everything that goes in and around it. And so what's happened, and this has happened from the very beginning of the group, you know, there have been lots of people that have come and gone. Some people like it, you know, some people like generally the people that are really hot and heavy for it in the beginning, they kind of flame out. But I'm sure they're the vast majority, the overwhelming majority of people in the group are your sort of bystanders. You get some value of it, you post occasionally, But a lot of people are just sort of casually observing. But even from the very beginning of the group, there have been some people come in and they take more than they give, and then others at times will give more than they take. You know, and both are fine. But you know, I started this thing as a way to give everybody else a voice, not just me talking all the time, and it's morphed into what it's morphed into, which has been cool to see. All right, so let's do this one. Get all the tools. So here we have this amazing group of people, and this happens pretty often, where somebody gets disgruntled and they decide that it's not an amazing group of people anymore. It was yesterday, but now it's not today. And then everybody wants to tell me how to do it. Tell me how to do their idea of it, which, you know, whatever. Take the good with the bad. But what also tends to happen is that some people tend to take advantage. So, you know, here's an argument that one person might have and say, well, dude, you know, you started this group and you weren't doing this for a living, and now it's changed because because you do this for a living. So I don't know what's changed in the group by that happening, but you know, I guess it probably has to some extent. I mean, it's inevitable. You know, we had 200 members, and then 1,000, and then 10,000, and now we have 25,000. So, I mean, I think it's inevitable that there's going to be some difference. You know, I've always gotten this even from the beginning, where people would say stupid stuff and they'd get kicked out. And so now what's happening is people have a tendency to look down on the fact that I now do this for a living. And I guess it's a bad thing to them. I don't know why it's a bad thing for me. I mean, shoot, isn't it cool? We can kind of get together, and now we're sort of building this thing together. And, you know, yeah, I guess I'm the leader of it, but, you know, I don't think anyone would argue that I haven't put in a lot of work in this thing. And so, of course, you know, I want the group to support the Obsessed Garage business. Why wouldn't I? And so when you know, think about this logically, so you have people come in there and they start selling their crap, selling their wares. Like, just have a little common courtesy here, man. I mean, you like me or hate me or whatever, but have a little bit of courtesy toward what I'm doing here. You know, and I'm not hawking stuff in the group. I'm just telling you the story, and then I happen to have a store that provides a solution. And I guess some people don't take too kindly to my own group supporting the group's founder. That's just asinine to me. And so I'm going to have to, I didn't think I had to. Just like I thought I could just tell people, look, just act like a gentleman. And apparently that's not enough, so we had to come up with a rule book. So now I'm going to have to come up with a rule. Don't hawk your wares. Don't come and snake oil salesman your crap. So I've had to deal with that a lot here lately. Several people. And luckily, they just take themselves out. And I don't know, they make up this whole story about I don't know, about how it's gone awry. I'm like, well, what's gone awry? What's changed? I've discovered Obsessed Garage as a way to teach people about things that we're all interested in, and then the Facebook group is a place for us to congregate. Whatever. I'm not going to let that. I'm not going to let people take advantage. There's a big difference between sharing links to your store of the same crap that I sell, or some version of it, and people just being helpful. And then let's gather up together, talk about how Matt's wronged you. I've wronged you by not allowing you to sell your stuff in the group that I founded. Come on, give me a break. So that stuff stresses me out. So instead of focusing on that, I'm just going to be, hey, here's the deal. Don't do it. If you do it, you get kicked out. going to focus on you, the people who give a crap and enjoy conversation. This one guy, in so many words, basically said, here's how you do this. This is how I would do it. This is how I've done it from the beginning. So, I go on a forum or I go somewhere online and I start making videos and I start talking about stuff and I start providing whatever it is I know. Again, I never call it a how-to. I just call it here's how I do it. So here's how I do something. Here's how I do this. And whether right or wrong, this is how I do it. And some people identify with it, some people don't. And so I'm sharing the process, right? And this is a lot of work, like lots of, probably way more work than actual work has ever been for me. So I put in the effort, share with people the details, and then the byproduct of that for me has become, people honor the source. They come and they buy stuff from now the store that I've created out of this sharing. And so my argument for people has always been, okay, you come in the group. First of all, if you come into it with an agenda to get something out of it and sell something and create, and create your own business out of it, that's probably not the right way to go about it. You shouldn't come in with that kind of attitude because it's probably not going to work. But come in and just support and help and contribute. Tell your story. Tell it again. Tell it again. And yeah, you can do it on my platform, or you can go create your own platform. Go make your own Facebook group. But that's hard. And so this one guy's he's like, I was telling him, I said, look, I'd rather you not share links to your products in the group. It's just, just help me out here. And I want this to work. I want Obsessed Garage to work. You posting some links of your stuff probably isn't going to kill me, but just have some courtesy, have some common decency to not do that. And so then he's like, well, yeah, but. And so I said, the way to go about it, which would be much smarter, because imagine me going on Adam's forum and pimping CarPro stuff, because I think it's better, because I think CarPro Iron X is better than Adam's Fallout Remover. And imagine that, it would be ridiculous. And then sharing links to Obsessed Garage or where you get CarPro, it just wouldn't go well. And so his argument was, well, this isn't a business page. I said, well, it is now. So take that for whatever it is. It's the Obsessed Garage community that's supported around Obsessed Garage. The only reason I continue to focus on it and do stuff with it is because Obsessed Garage has afforded me the ability to do that. And put resources, and the moderators have been certainly helpful, but I've been able to create this place because of the support of the community. So it's become a business. It wasn't my intention, but it's become one. So I'd ask that you honor that. And so his argument was, well, then you're not sharing the best of the best. I said, well, I'm sharing what I think is the best. And so, I said the way to contribute is that you just go and help people and answer questions and make posts, and then eventually people are going to find you. They're just going to, and if they believe you more than they believe me, then they'll buy from you instead. But it's going to take a lot of work. And then his argument was, well, I don't have time for that. I work blah, 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 10 hours a day, doing this for X amount of years, blah, 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 blah. And I said, so you don't want to do the work. So you want me to build the platform, me to put in the work, because I have all kinds of free time, obviously, and I'm, independently wealthy, apparently, this guy thinks. And so why, his argument was, well, I believe in this 1,000%. So why wouldn't, but I don't have time to do it the way you're telling me to do it. But I believe in it. But I don't have time. But I believe in it. Like, well, that's great. But that's not the way to do it. You're certainly not going to do it in my group. So stop doing that. So in other words, go hawk your wares somewhere else. And any of you who have started a business or own a business and have seen your life transition, I'm sure you can relate to some of what I'm talking about here. I'm all for competition, but let's compete on a level playing ground here. I'm not going to go try to sell my chicken in front of the grocery store because there's people that identify with chicken in the grocery store parking lot. you'll be escorted out of there really quickly. So, on a more positive note, we have been selected by a pretty cool thing. So thanks to you, a dozen or so guys that volunteered to possibly be in the video. I put it on Facebook. They had a casting call, so they needed people to provide a quick little video. Probably just wanted to take a look at you and make sure you didn't look like a weirdo. It will be a national ad campaign referring to community. It's just cool. So we're going to have a meeting with the moderators. We're going to have to be prepared for an influx of people that don't belong, that won't be solid contributors. So we're going to have to figure out a system to make sure it doesn't get out of control. Because I think there's a very real possibility we're going to find some more of us. You know, I don't have a number that I'm looking for. I'm just looking for more of us crazies, us people that are like-minded, that get it, that are courteous, that honor the source. You know, we're not going to be Mac Shine posts in my group if I have anything to do with it. All right, I think we're good there. Let's do the rear. Okay, let's work on the rear. So this will get rid of the light I currently have. I certainly don't need this long of an extension. I don't know why I have this. I probably shouldn't even be using this. So let's stop talking about it and let's go get the right sized one. Don't really need an extension at all, other than I like it to put the lugs back on. That's a little better. So what else is going on? The 1M is out in the parking lot, all torn apart. So I gotta get this one out. This clunking was driving me crazy. I love driving the GT3, but I don't want to drive it every day. So I had to bump the 1M out. The 1M was already moved for Adam's GT3 RS anyway, so I had to bump that out of the way, get this in here to fix this, the sway bar. And I'm like, well, if I'm in here, might as well knock out these brake wear sensors. Shane tied these all up for me. We were kind of hoping that they would just, that it wouldn't matter, that it wouldn't throw a code, but it's like a soft code. There's just an orange brake light on in the car. So I've been really struggling with the podcast and live and getting the audio to sync. And you guys have been nice. No one's really complained. That's why I didn't know there was anything wrong. And I went back and watched some of them. It's weird, like I haven't gone and watched any of them because we did them live and there was no edit required. Normally when I find errors or issues, it's during the editing process, but I hadn't been editing them. And I went back and looked, and a bunch of them are out of sync. And nobody's really said, hey, Matt, your stuff's out of sync. Normally people will, I like that, will politely tell me, hey, something's not right. Just want to let you know. But otherwise, sometimes it's hard to know. So, but Charlie's been helping me. He's an audio engineer, so he's been helping me think about the future podcast studio, as well as getting my current one dialed in as much as possible. You have to draw the line somewhere because, audio recording and audio studio can be extremely, extremely expensive. But I want to do it right. I want to do it well. And I don't want to have audio sync issues. It's just not something I want to hear or see from other podcasts. And, it seems so easy, but when we get into live streaming, it becomes really problematic. Much harder than you'd think. Again, I know this is better to use a blowtorch, but this is what we got. So I'm going to be getting a lot of cool stuff that I've been shopping. One of my great pleasures in this world is to do the research process. So it's to sit on the couch with my computer, which I basically did all day yesterday, except when I'm fighting on Facebook, trying to get people to stop taking advantage of me, and figure stuff out. And then now I have like this rocket fuel, and then I have people, or at least I'm introduced to people like Charlie who are experts who can run circles around me, and then together we can come up with a better way to do things. And so he's just making suggestions. Ultimately I'm going to make the decision, but he's making suggestions on, I think you might want to look at this, look at that. And then I have to decide how much money do I want to spend. But I'm going to get an Apollo X8P for all of my audio preamplification and signal processing. And then that connects via Thunderbolt 3 to my new iMac Pro, not Mac Pro. And hopefully that will help with any latency issues that we're running into in processing from my Scarlett. The other issue is that we're dealing with we're using the Sony A7 III to capture the 1080p recording, and so, or the 1080p footage, and so that's also contributing to a bit of a delay. So we need to figure all this stuff out. I've even contemplated, this is why you put these next to each other and not like I did. Try this again. Got it up too high. There we go, jeez. Fronts are easy. Rears, not so much. So we'll have Shure SM7B connected via my Yellowtech arms booms via XLR to my Cloud Lifter CL4. Cloud Lifter that will then feed the, what's it called? The Apollo. Apollo then outputs via Thunderbolt 3. So the Apollo does all the processing, all the equalization. And then I forget which, so I'll have to get some other software. See, the cool thing with the Apollo is it will eliminate a lot of extra hardware, so we can do all the DSP stuff, adding limiters and things like that, equalization via software. And because the processing power in that Apollo is stout, the CPU doesn't have to work, and so that hopefully will improve audio quality, which really doesn't matter so much for voice, but will improve audio quality as well as hopefully help with any latency in audio video. So we're gonna have to figure out how to make that work and make it work live and make it look good and sound good. And I'll share all that stuff once I figure it out. Just like as we figure out these cameras, I'm gonna share what I end up with process-wise and what all the gear is on the camera and the tripod and all that. All right, last wheel. This will be good. Hopefully I'll have some time to maybe pull the front seat out and see if I can lubricate the mess I have on my hands with the squeakiness of my new to me BMW Performance seats. So these wheels are already sold, so don't get all excited. They try to get these for free from me. They're already gone. Okay, last one. Well, I couldn't find the wear indicator because I'm pretty sure that there isn't one on the left rear. So that's why I couldn't find it. I just called Mike and he's like, yeah, it doesn't have one in the left rear. Some 3 Series don't have, they only have them in the corners. Jeez. I should use the lift, move up and down, but I like to be difficult. So I was gonna text Alex. Alex from Alpine sent me his tune so I could compare it to the ESS tune. And we'll see which one I like better. And maybe while I'm doing that, I can convince him to reset my wear indicator. I need to get a scan tool for BMWs, like iCarly or something like that. Maybe you guys in the comments can make a suggestion. What do I need to reset lights like that through OBD2? Because I don't think you can do it through the BC control. So now what I'm going to do is put the car down, back it up, lift it up, and then check the sway bar end links again. And if for some reason the sway bar end links come undone, Mike suggested to me that I put some Loctite on. Ooh, another thing I just did, been having problems getting any twin bush lifts. So today I just took a huge risk. I just bought 10 of the S310, so the short, the low rise, and then 10 of the S319, so the 10E and the 19. So I bought 10 of each, which is like an insane amount of money I had to buy. It makes me nervous doing that kind of stuff. But now I have them, so I'll be able to take a pre-order. The 10s will be in about 2 weeks. The others will be about 2 months. But in order to lock them down and to help Twin Bush buy more of them, I've just bought them up front. And I was able to negotiate a little better deal for me anyway. Oh, sweet. Alex is ready. Let me go get Bryce. All right, so first thing we do is connect up my little charger, little Noco thing. That thing. So connect up the Noco. And then Bryce has his Surface. So we're connecting via OBD2 port.
There we go.
To a wonderful Windows machine, my favorite.
Windows XP.
Windows XP through. So Alex is logging in via, and was this a virtual machine?
Yeah. So this is VMware.
Yeah.
So he sends you like a little USB stick with all the stuff on it. So
yeah, it makes it super simple. So he sends you the software, and then he sends the cable, and this cable will be locked to this car. And then he's going to do the tune. So I got to tell him what I want. All right, so we're still working on this tune deal here. Something wrong with the cable, I think. I don't know. So anyway, I'm wrapping up today. I'm going to head out of here. Alex is finishing up. I'm going to head out of here and work on another project tomorrow. I'm going to get the car cleaned up. I got to get down to get the HREs installed. I'll work on the front seat at a different time. Anyway, thanks for watching. And well, I guess maybe I'll try to do some more of these working chats or modifying chats too. Anyway, thanks for watching. As always, stay tuned for more crazy. What happens when the force pulls you back, your foot naturally comes off the gas. You have to keep your foot to the floor, foot to the floor.